Namo Amida Bu. I've been dealing with some stuff for a long time. Here's the thing, especially living in America with all the crazy politics and all the crazy things going on and the violent crime and everything polarized right in your face, there's a tendency, a natural tendency, to want to stay informed. You want to know what's going on. Excuse me, drinking cranberry juice. You want to stay informed, but there's an upside and a downside to how informed I find I should be when it comes to stuff going on in the saha realm. First of all, not everything you hear, even from so-called reliable sources, is necessarily true at all. I found that out when I saw Candace Owens coming out in a video, which I believe has been taken down, saying a bunch of totally false crap about vegans, implying that they were she didn't imply, she came out and said that most vegans hate humans and love animals, which is, a vegan is someone who tries to act ethically and compassionately toward all sentient beings. Doesn't always succeed, but tries. And she started the video by saying the suspect in the Idaho murder case was a vegan, and she could see why, someone like that would, of course, there's been no trial, nobody's been found guilty. This is all speculation concerning this trial. But the alleged suspect, she said she could see how a person could be a murderer of humans and be a vegan, which shows she knows nothing about veganism. I talked about that and went on a rant about that in my vegan channel yesterday. But today I just wanted to talk about clickbait and talking heads and how they use fear to get you to watch their content and like their content and share their content. And the damaging effects that can have on your emotions, your psyche, and how it can be dangerous. It can divert your focus. See, my focus as often as possible needs to be on Amida Bu, not on the constantly changing crap that's going on in our society. And I'm referring to people on the right as well as on the left. Because usually the greatest content creators on YouTube, on other platforms, are people on the extreme right or the extreme left. And their greatest tool is in evoking fear and a sense of dread, hopelessness, and insecurity in the viewers. It's like a drug dealer. I liken it to a drug dealer giving someone a little bit of free drugs to get them hooked so they can't stop. And I recently found this in my own case. I recently went through my YouTube subscriptions and just basically deleted all political content. I've added politics to the list of things I've given up in my life. I've given up eating animal products. I've given up sex. I've given up cigarettes. I've given up intoxicants, whether drugs or alcohol, hallucinogenic drugs or alcohol. And my life has been better for it. And about 4 days ago, I made a decision. I thought long and hard about my addiction to fear-mongering talking heads on the right and on the left. And I've decided I don't care anymore. I don't care what they talked about at Davos, WEF, Economic Forum in Switzerland. I don't care how some living toad named George Soros is attempting to take over the world using his ridiculous amount of money to basically tear apart society and burn down all the systems. I don't care that people are so stupid that they vote in people they know are going to ruin their way of life, take away their rights. And I don't mean that in a sociopathic, callous way. I care to a point. But in terms of, it's kind of like the one addiction I've held on to is my addiction to caffeine. I love my coffee. I love my coffee. I love my tea. But I kind of liken this to an extreme version of an addiction. You know, I have to find out what's going on. I have to find out, what celebrity did what or did that. And I've decided the American political system is crap. And that's all it is. It's just, that's all there is to it. It's crap, in my opinion. And also, I've made the decision, because I've made, through deductive reasoning, the observation that if I'm filling my mind with crap, then I'm not focusing on Amida Bu. This, I might add, is also toward watching ghost hunter videos. Now I understand a lot of these ghost hunter videos are faked, and I had an interest in this because I have had encounters with ghosts. I've had encounters with demonic entities in the past. And so I know these things are real. But focusing on dark entities in a house that are harassing and tormenting the human inhabitants of that house, even though I know as a person of Shinjin I cannot become possessed, I cannot become tormented by angry pretas or evil spirits or demons or demonic entities, still it's about focus. As I've shared on previous videos, one of the most wonderful things I've gotten in being a disciple of Amida Ji is Josho's wonderful sagely advice that when you're afflicted with negative, evil thoughts, you don't try to fix yourself. You don't try to reprogram your thoughts. It's futile, because that only causes you to focus more on the thing you're trying to negate from obsessing about in your mind. And he says, merely change the focus. And I've started to do that. I've already deleted, I do believe, all political channels from my YouTube subscriptions, because I found I was watching these things way too much, caring about things that I don't really care about. Like, what is Elon Musk doing today? What is George Soros? What is his evil cartoon villain plans for the world and the country? The lizards at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. What mastermind does the Legion of Doom have for taking over the world? And I've come to the conclusion, this is not my world. I'm here. I'm stuck here. And like I said in my previous video, the reason I'm here is to share Amitabha Buddha with you. It's for you. And making that video helped me to stop and think, what use am I going to be in sharing Amitabha Buddha with you if I'm troubled and distracted by things I have no control over? Now, I am a simple vegan who walks to work and takes the bus home. I don't even have a bike right now. Well, what the hell am I going to do about climate change when we have people like the President of the United States and others who are commanding the deforestation of America's forests? Trees that are over thousands of years old, 1,000 years old, hundreds of years old, and just mowing them down in one day to give to another country. What can I do about a corrupt, evil government that takes my tax money and just doesn't use it to help the people, me or others living in this country, but takes it and gives it away as bribes and leveraging money to people in other countries? What can I do if a bunch of cartoon villains decide they want to inject chips in our brains and turn us into a bunch of unwilling zombies, take away everything we own, and put chips in our heads to make us like it and be satisfied with it? Not a goddamn thing. Nothing. There is nothing I can do. And so, watching people like Tim Pool, Styx Hexenhammer, Candace Owens, CNN, watching all these people piss and moan and bitch and whine about what these people could do. All of these cartoon villains, these billionaires that run everything in the world, what they intend to do to us. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure these people are evil and they are selfish and they're wholly motivated by greed and an unquenchable lust for power. So I would not be surprised by anything they wanted to do. Whether it's depopulating the human race and what is known as the Great Reset, or causing riots, racial, ethnic, social disunity through social media, through the press, online and on television, to tear down society so they can create some great reset and rebuild society as they see fit. Because as they've said, many of them have said, they shouldn't worry about, you know, what the mandate of heaven is, because they themselves are the gods and they know what's best for everyone. And what's best is what feeds their narcissistic ego. Okay, that's bad. Okay, that may happen. It may not happen. A lot of these people are old. They may die tonight. They may stay alive using baby's blood. I don't know. I hear, that's another thing. You don't know after a while listening to these pundits what is real and what is false. You hear so much outrageous conspiracy. And the conspiracy theories are endless. And I came to a point I realized I was listening to all these different views on the right and on the left, and it doesn't amount to a hill of beans. Whether or not it does or doesn't come to pass is irrelevant, because there's not one thing I can do about it except worry about it. Worry about climate change. Worry about taking the vaccine. Worry about, you know, how taxes are going to go up, how the recession is going to take place, whether or not there's going to be a Great Depression. Whether or not the world is going to be in another ice age or underwater or living in a giant desert planet like on Mad Max, or a nuclear holocaust. There's always that. They like talking about wars and rumors of wars. Once again, there's nothing this little old man can do about any of that but worry. Worry myself sick, make myself afraid. Now, to those of you who feel the need for activism, more power to you. But, you know, I live in the United States, where the voice of the common people is basically mostly ignored, and almost completely ignored. They tax us and they use our money for whatever they want to do. Foreign billionaires come in and create havoc and chaos and cause entire cities to be burned down, property to be damaged, covered in graffiti, windows to be broken, people to be assaulted and murdered. And they buy up judges that do nothing about it. And I would like to say that that's a total left-wing or right-wing thing, but I've seen it on both sides. Keep in mind, I'm in my 60s. I've lived a long time. I was born in 1960. And I remember back when I was a kid, the extreme ultra-religious Christian right was in charge of everything. They were in charge of the media. They were in charge of the narrative. That's why our national holidays, for the most part, are Christian holidays. Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving. These are Christian holidays. And I remember back during those times, it was basically okay to attack people for their race, attack people for their sexuality, attack people for not being Christian, attack people for not eating meat. And sometimes these people who weren't Christian, didn't eat meat, didn't live according to the so-called Christian narrative during the period when I was a kid, they would sometimes be shot, beaten up, more often than not beaten up. I experienced bullying in school, in elementary school and junior high, and these were not from Antifa members. These were not from, left-wing, terrorists or whatever. These were fellow church-going Christians, some people that went to my Baptist church. I remember being called derogatory names in Sunday school on Sunday morning at Sharpstown Baptist Church by someone who went to my junior high. And none of these people, as I've said, and why I left Christianity and converted to Buddhism, none of these good Christian people have ever come to me or made an attempt to come to me and say, you know what, David, we didn't act in a Christian manner. So I've been looking at my subscriptions on my YouTube channel and asking myself, what do I want to focus on? Don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean that all of my subscriptions are going to be, Amitabha Buddha. For the most part, most of them are. Amitabha Buddha chants, Buddhist channels, Vietnamese, Chinese, English. But I like comedy. I like gardening. I like vegan cooking videos. I love special effects. I love computerized imagery. I like history. I love mysteries. I like listening to stories about Bigfoot and Dogman, and everyone likes a good tale. I like to just zone out and play solitaire on the computer and listen to some story being told in the background. It's very relaxing. It's very ASMR. It's very calming. So it's not going to be all about focusing just on all things Amida. And there are movies I love. I'm subscribed to a lot of movie channels on YouTube. But the thing is, I've basically given up politics. And that includes all politics. Because, as I've said many times before, I do believe the American government has been infiltrated by corruption. It is a broken, wounded, basically poisoned system. Is it all bad? No. But I need to focus on what's good. And from what I've seen, American politics doesn't have much good to offer. That being said, in the past 4 days since I've made this decision, I've stopped watching political and social commentary on YouTube. Now, don't get me wrong, I keep up with the news, and me and my best friend, we talk about what's going on in the world. And some of it's positive, most of it's negative. That's the way of the news. I get that. But there's just something about going on a YouTube channel and having it pounded in your head. You know, George Orwell, 1984, they're going to strip you of all your rights. Putin's going to drop the bomb. COVID is going to take over. And I've had Omicron. You know, I've dealt with a lot in my life. And as I approach the end of my life, I realize I don't have any time to waste focusing on the bullshit of the American political system. I've looked at Republican, Democrat, and everything in between. I don't see anyone worthy of voting for, in my opinion. Whether it's a Joe Biden, a Donald Trump, and all the minions that fall in line behind them. I find the American political system to be a dying mastodon that it doesn't stand for anything. To use the term of the people, by the people, for the people, and forgive me if I screwed that order up. To use that term nowadays is laughable. Because I find the American political system is not about the people, it's for the politicians to line their pockets. It's basically what we in Texas refer to as the good old boy system. These are my buddies. These are my friends. They can do whatever they want without facing any repercussions. It's a practice in corruption and incompetence. So I wanted to share that because I honestly feel lighter, more emotionally calm and stable, and more grateful, more focused on Amida. Now, my Shinjin is diamond-like. It's not going away. I can't retrogress. I can't move backward. I don't maintain my faith. That comes from Amida. But I can decide to focus more on Amida than on the crap going on in this age, Dharma ending age of Mappo. I mean, it is a very sick, twisted age. That being said, I don't need to focus on its sickness. There are birds singing outside. There are flowers growing in the cracks of the sidewalk. There are squirrels scampering around. I can't know and appreciate the joy of nature if I'm worrying about the nuclear bomb being dropped on my head. I can't enjoy the beauty of the weather we've been having in Houston, and we've had some outstandingly, albeit somewhat cold for my taste, outstandingly beautiful weather here in Houston. It is therapeutic to my mind and emotions to be able to look at the beautiful crystal blue sky, to hear the birds in the distance. And instead of worrying whether or not they're going to chop down all the trees around me, to focus on the trees that are standing, to focus on the nature that is still all around me. You know, coulda, woulda, shoulda. They may strip the world of every plant on the planet. They may turn us all into herd animals. What can I do about that? If it does, and it may or may not happen, people self-destruct, especially people, even rich billionaires, evil billionaires, who abuse the good karma that they've had. They use it up. And then their life here ends. And when one of these villains goes away, another one comes and rises to power. There's a back and forth, positive and negative. This is the way of all karma. It's called cause and effect. I cannot produce much good karma in my mind with my thoughts if I'm filling my head with garbage. Like I said, there's going to be some garbage because stuff happens around the world and you want to know what's going on. But you don't have to obsess about it. My focus is on Amida Buddha. Not all the time. But I can choose to focus more than I have been. Now, whether I do focus or don't, that doesn't affect my Shinjin one way or another. I know Amida and his Pure Land are real. I've entrusted myself and my karmic destiny to Amida Buddha. I've wished to be born in his Pure Land, and I know after death, after this life is finished, I will be born in his Pure Land of ultimate bliss and peace to become a fully enlightened Buddha. Meanwhile, I'm not a Buddha. And I'm not, unlike a Buddha, I am not impervious to the negative, low energy vibration garbage that is all around me. But amidst that low energy vibration garbage all around me, there's also beauty. And I'm not advocating becoming a Pollyanna person with his head stuck in the sand. But I am deciding, just as I gave up meat, cigarettes, alcohol, I've never really been into hallucinogenic drugs, but smoked a little pot, did a little cocaine once. I've given all these vices up, and today I've I've made the decision to give up on caring what my government does or doesn't do. Some of you may agree with this, some of you may think it's a cop-out. But for my state of mind, for my focus, since I worship the Buddha of infinite light and life, I want to focus more on light instead of darkness. I just wanted to share that with you. Namo Amida Bu. Have a great day, guys.